with our collaboration that we're doing, it's going to be in Taiwan exclusive. I'm not selling them in the States.
We humans are creatures of stories. Before the advent of writing, even before the agricultural revolution 10,000 years ago, when we were hunter and gatherers, we've been telling each other stories to better understand our environment. We've been telling each other stories to better understand who we are. We've been telling stories to each other to better know and learn about ourselves as individuals in the grand scheme of things. Why do people pay money and go to movie theaters rather than just go to the park and people watch? At its core, it's the same thing. We are passively observing others and people's interacting with each other and with the environment. But we go to the movies because there's a plot, there's a climax, there's a story. Bear with me, I'm gonna get to my point, so I promise, just wait. Sometimes we are attracted by stories for the power that it holds, so much so that we believe in them wholeheartedly just to make this world function. Stories have given to us gods, the right of kings, nationhood, even the purchasing power of money. Oftentimes, the value of an object transcends the material used in its functionality. Why is a Gucci bag thousands of dollars while another brandless, storyless bag with the same material, with the same function is worth a fraction of that? Because the brand and the story that it represents means that much more. In a capitalistic free market society, the value of an object is reflected in how much money people are willing to pay for them. Of course, sometimes it gets a little bit abstract and twisted, but we're not going there. In a group of people, given enough time and history, the stories that they tell each other becomes culture. In that, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at our final destination. What does it mean when speedqb says, for the culture? Now that in and of itself deserves its own episode, and I do plan to make an episode talking about that. Sometimes super busy, so many things to do. But today, as an introduction, it is my personal opinion that Slaughter Project embodies this ethos, movement that is live and well in America. And it is my wish to see it spread to the rest of the world. Roll the tape. To be honest, living and playing airsoft here in Taiwan meant that my journey of discovery for Slaughter Project took a while. I had seen Slaughter patches and apparel here and there consistently on different airsoft influencers' social media. I remember thinking like, so Slaughter is a brand that just makes patches? And that was very confusing to me. So this past fall, when I went back to America, one of my Taiwanese viewers reached out to me and asked if I can get him some Slaughter patches. So I told him to go to the site and get it, and he was like, it's all sold out. So I was thinking patches are all sold out. So I went to the Slaughter site and realized, yes, like all their patches are sold out. So that caught my attention. Then when I went to play at different airsoft fields in America, I saw how many American airsoft players were repping the Slaughter wear. And that's when I saw firsthand how influential Slaughter is and how much it has embedded into the American airsoft community. Curious now, I went back to the Slaughter site and I found the Slaughter poem. The Slaughter poem was what sold it to me. The poem persuaded me that it's more than a patch. The poem gave it a story. It gave Slaughter a soul. Let's look at the Slaughter poem.
Very few words can be used to describe such a disquieting conclusion, as if it were its own punctuation following a series of unnerving events. In the ambience of conflict, slaughter is an unspoken agreement between two agents of opposition. Its presence demands reflection and acknowledgement. It is absolute, a means to an end. Challenges take on infinite appearances. This word slaughter is an insurance that whatever your challenge is, it will be met with an abrupt resolution. Everyone who wears the black bar shares something in common, an underground ethos of an international community, an understanding that you are not limited to your own expectations, inspiring those who love what they do to reach their apex of being. It is not for clout or recognition. You do it to prove your own expectations wrong and nothing else. Echo this, and welcome to the project.
Soon, in a little bit, I think you'll be surprised at how Slaughter came to establish itself in the airsoft community and the industry, as well as how the poem, of which I attribute much of my allegiance to the Slaughter project, how all that came to be accidentally and very much organically. I had the honor of meeting Eric, who is the man behind Slaughter Project. And we had the opportunity to sit down a few days ago and just chat via Zoom. Let's hear it from the man himself.
Slaughter Project started off as an homage for my hometown. Slaughter is actually what my county was called before it was called Kitsap. It used to be called Slaughter County. And so Slaughter was just like, that's my hometown. On July 13th, 1857, the recently organized Slaughter County is renamed Kitsap County in honor of Chief Kitsap, a Suquamish military leader. As Slaughter grew, I purposely did not impose a meaning. I wanted the community to build it themselves. Without them, there is no project. To me, Slaughter is like, it's like an adjective, kind of like how Nike is just do it. It kind of sums it up into one word. And anytime that you hear that word in any other context, you're kind of like taken back, like, oh, what, it was slaughtered. Something was just completely taken out. To me, that means in this context, whatever your adversity is or whatever is in front of you that is preventing you and your goals being met, it's got to go, you know, and Slaughter is like the switch to allow you to get through whatever you need to get through to get to your goal. There's like this moment, it's this and I use the term apex of being, is that when you're in that moment, it's almost like you can feel it on the back of your neck. You're so hyper focused on what you need to do and what to accomplish. And there's like this, it's like this, oh, it's almost like you can almost taste it, you know? And it's like when you're in it, you know you're in it, and you're it's like you're in bliss. You're in your zone, you know, and that's where it's like this little moment, and that's where it lives. Is like this little, that's where Slaughter lives.
From what you said, this is almost like an organic process of how Slaughter came to be. And it could be different for everybody else, right?
I feel like if it's not organic, it could feel forced. People could feel like they might be manipulated in a way. You know, traveling for Slaughter, I really try to make sure that I'm able to play with the community that I'm visiting. I want to play with that community, and I want to see what their community is like. It's just a really good way to get to know your base, you know, is to get out and play with them and not sit behind a tent.
That's one of the things that I find very important for us, for Pew Logic, to host events, because I play with the teams and the players regularly, like on public games and scrimmages. And because when I participated in other Taiwanese events or Taiwanese tournaments, I found out that some of them is hosted by like this big brand and, you know, the big boss man, but they don't necessarily play airsoft. You know what I'm saying? So you lose that connection with the player base.
When you lose that disconnect, when you're not a part of the community that you're trying to cater to, they notice. They know when something's genuine, when it's players putting on events, or when it's something that where it's just kind of more dollars. You know, you got to run a business, understandably, yeah, but like, I don't know, it's the community can tell.
Yeah. So then I found out Slaughter passed the resale value. I was like, whoa, like 60 to like 150, like
on average they resell for right around 75 to 150. I've personally sold patches as high as $300. There's been a couple of them. Some people look at it negatively, some other people look at it as an opportunity. It's something that I have to acknowledge. I also have to acknowledge that I have no control over that I have to allow that to exist. There was never my intention to sell a $150 patch. Originally, I made 20 of these things, and I thought that was going to be it. I think it's cool. I mean, I think that people want them that badly. that they're willing to put up that kind of money, it's surreal that it means that much to people. And they find that value in it. People are getting tattooed.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
You know,
Crazy.
it's crazy.
Yeah, this is definitely not something that you can plan for. But in a free market, it just shows that there's this demand, like people just want it.
Yeah.
And
They call themselves slaughterheads. It's their term. I'm not putting these things out there. These guys are doing it on their own, but like,
right.
yeah, it's like they collect them like shoes, and they pay big money for them.
What we've just talked about, do you think this will be a fad? Is it a fad? Why or why not?
That's a hard question to ask, because there's so much that goes into what makes a fad. But I've been selling slaughter patches since 2017. I've been going on 5 years. It wasn't until 2020 that I took it seriously, and I was like, okay, like let's maybe build this, let's turn this into something. And every single time I do a release, the sellout time gets shorter and shorter and shorter. Like they're buying them up faster and faster and faster, and I can't keep up. I hope that I can keep it going longer than a fad, because I've been playing airsoft for almost 17 years. So
Wow.
like I've been a part of it, and I know that the community sees that, so they know that it's not disingenuous, that this is something that, I do for the community because I've been in the community so long, and that support I feel goes against what a fad would be. I feel like it's a little bit more deep rooted than that. At least I hope so. And I'm treating it as such. So I don't take it for granted whatsoever. Very grateful for the community here. I'm very grateful for the community that you're building as well. I'm really excited to see how this tracks. It's just exciting for me because it feels like acceptance, from around the world.
From our end, I mean, we're even more appreciative to be seen, so especially in Taiwan because of our geopolitical situation, to be seen like this, to be how do you say, recognized, I think we definitely appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you tell me, what was the Slaughter poem about and who was it for?
It was something that I was asked to write. The idea was brought to me by one of the gentlemen who's a part of Monk Customs team. They were doing one of their they're doing one of their like end of the year presentations, because they asked me to be a part of it. And I, obviously I agreed. They asked if I would write a poem. It took me a long time initially to like kind of conceive and like basically put the energy that the community had put into it and put that into words, and how to explain what slaughter is and kind of break it down in a way for people to just kind of really get it. That was what that poem was for. It originally went on the official website's launch page. And since then, like I said, the websites had to change a couple of times just to deal with the traffic.
I remember I saw a video of you with Steve from SS Airsoft, and then you mentioned that the patches, one of them, when it was released, it was sold out in a minute. And the latest two patches that you released, I think you said it sold out in 4 seconds.
Couple of people have reached out and said like, yo, it was in my inbox, and at like 5:01 it said it was sold out. And one guy said like it sold out 4 seconds. Every single time we do a drop, I get an influx of followers and people who are new to it, who don't necessarily know that they're not just easy to buy. As soon as I put them up for sale, they sell out. That's a follow-up to why they sell for so much, is that they're just hard to get.
We're beyond the beat, got it?
Which is, where do you think Slaughter is going for the next 5-10 years? What are some possible merch expansions and such? What can you tell the people?
Where I'm at right now with the future goals is, I want to start doing slaughter events. I want to start going around the country. Maybe eventually I would have the opportunity to go around the world. But aside from that, I really want to expand the apparel. I want to expand it in a way where you can wear the stuff and do other sports. Because people who play airsoft, they don't just play airsoft. A lot of people play basketball. A lot of people play, different, whatever their hobby is.
Skateboard.
And I want to have, Yeah, like workout apparel, I want to do a line for women, like they have their own sets of clothes that they can wear. I really want to include everybody. And eventually I would like to start going into different sports. And I would say is the big end goal in the next 5 years, I would say.
There you go. From the origin of the name to how it came to be where it is today, rather than a carefully choreographed sales strategy, Slaughter was given form and meaning purely from the players in the community, meaning that its rise was democratically chosen by the players, for the players. From the font it uses to the iconic Slaughter drip, to the shape and the size of every patch, everything is intentionally designed to be recognizable, to be a statement of all those who rocks the Slaughter patch. Through the Slaughter story, players let other players know that the sport that we play is more than a sport, but a lifestyle, a culture. Exciting news to come between Pew Logic and Slaughter Project, so stay tuned. So in the end, yes, it's just a patch, but at the same time, it's also way more. Welcome to the Slaughter Project. Oh no, oh no, oh, okay. No,